Hello and welcome to Scientific Games technical training video on properly installing the TwinStar Matrix cabinet. Before we look at the process of installing and setting up the cabinet, let us review some of the EGM specifications. Starting with the electrical, it will take 120 to 230 volts AC to operate the cabinet. The power consumption will be between 216 to 218 watts. The current draw will range from 1.04 amps to 1.83 amps. The max current load will be 6.8 amps. The total weight of the EGM is 279 pounds and has a flammable weight of 28 pounds. During this installation, you will need the following tools. Locks, which are contingent on the customer's requirements. Cat5 cabling for your networking of the EGM. You'll also need tools to install the lock, which will be your 22mm or 7/8" wrench or socket, 11 or number 7/16" wrench and socket, and lastly, a 10mm wrench or socket. You will need a nut driver set, needle nose pliers, Phillips screwdriver, Allen wrenches, and lastly, the operating software manual for your EGM. During the unpacking phase, ensure to inspect the EGM for any shipping damage, such as dents or scratches. Unpack and remove all loose parts from any boxes or bags containing cables, lock cams, and mounting hardware. Be sure to inspect the interior cables and ensure they are firmly connected. Lastly, inspect the circuit boards to ensure there are no loose connections. Orient slot bases in the desired location. Ensure the customer has power at the location of the installation. As a precaution, ensure sides and backs of cabinets are not exposed or accessible by players. Do not place the EGM on wires or cables. Lastly, for pod configurations, fasten adjacent stands together using the stand hinge bracket with mounting hardware kit 14400978-104. Last caution about stands. To prevent tipping, always secure the cabinets firmly to the stand using the cabinet stand mounting hardware. If a template is available, center on stand. Mark the stand with either a marker or crayon. You will need to mark holes for the EGM power and holes to secure the EGM to the stand. If not, lift the EGM and place on the stand. Note, when performing this task, practice safe lifting. It will require no less than 2 people to handle and move the EGM onto the base. Once in place, open the belly door. To secure EGM to base, we will need to remove the subwoofer. To do this, disconnect the cables connected to the sub and then pulling from the back of the subwoofer as shown, you will observe the subwoofer slide forward. Place to the side for now. Center the EGM on the stand. Using a marker or crayon, mark the 4 holes as shown here in the diagram. Using a power drill and drill bit, drill out the 4 holes to mount the EGM. Then, using the correct size hole saw, drill out the hole to allow the power cord to drop. Take from the hardware kit the 4 mounting screws, 4 nuts, and 4 washers. Place one of each in each hole drilled. Using your socket or wrench, tighten each nut. Repeat this process until all 4 nuts are tightened. The EGM is now secure to the base. At this time, we can now also drop power down through the power hole we just drilled and plug it into the circuit power. With the belly door open, we can now Install the subwoofer as instructed when we removed it earlier in the video. Next, we are ready to prepare our MPU. When the MPU shipped, there are jumpers for the battery that need enabling. To do this, we will need to remove the MPU. To remove the MPU, disconnect the 4 mini DP cables from the side of the MPU. Note, there are 4 cables. V1 is for the main door touchscreen monitor. V2 is for the main door upper monitor. V3 is for the iDeck assembly. And lastly, V4 is for the topper, if applicable to this game theme. Using your shipping key, unlock and open the door on the MPU. Grasp the handle on the MPU and pulls towards yourself. You will observe that it dislodges and slides forward. With the MPU door open, and as depicted here, on the left front of the MPU, look for connections J37 BAT1 and J36 BAT2. As I am shown in the diagram, if you are able to see a pin exposed, that means the battery is disabled. If, and as shown, you do not see a pin, this is an indication the battery is enabled. From my understanding, all MPUs will be shipped with the battery disabled. So be sure this step is complete before going any further. Should you ever have to replace the batteries, you will need to remove the MPU cover as shown. Once this has been removed, there is another thumb screw located at the back left of the MPU. This screw is what screws the battery housing to the MPU. Using your Phillips screwdriver, loosen this screw and then from the back of the MPU, pull the assembly out. Remember, if you ever have to change these batteries, you are required to do a full RAM clear on the EGM and also complete a QIR stating why you performed the complete RAM clear. Secure battery housing into place once completed. Then secure the MPU back into place. Reinstall MPU back into the EGM. Insert your thumb drive into the available 3.1 USB port inside the MPU. Power on EGM and allow to boot. Once booted, we can now insert our bundle software into the 2.0 USB port on the MPU. Allow the USB to be established. Install all required software. Once completed, power EGM down. Remove all USB from the MPU. Once all removed, power on EGM and allow to boot up. First screen to appear will inquire about clearing RAM. On the screen, you will observe a box that is also asking if you want to clear RAM and persistent data. Ensure that you select this box before selecting yes. By selecting this box, it will clear all high-level data that could cause issues with Windows 10. Select yes and then confirm the process. Allow the formatting of RAM to complete. Once completed, you'll observe the Easy Config menu on the very first EGM. Select Skip. Once this EGM is set up completely, you can then share these settings across the network. The last thing to discuss will be how to access the operator's menu. If you noticed, when looking at the front of the MPU, the self-test button, located on the right side of the MPU, has been placed here for easier access. Press the Self-Test button to access the operator's menu. From here, the optioning is identical to what we use for TwinStar. Gather all pertinent information from customer needed and proceed to option the EGM per the customer's standards. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Should you have any questions or concerns, send an email to our technical training team.